Hi, my name is BREGJE and you are watching Estona tutorials. And this tutorial is very special because I am not working alone on this one. I am working with Basia from The Art of Metalsmithing. And if you haven't found her yet, just look her up here on YouTube because she has a metalsmithing channel just like mine, where she posts all types of free tutorials, vlogs, whatever. And most of all, she is a very, very kind human being and I love watching her tutorials. So maybe you will as well. And we are hoping that you want to help us out for the challenges to come. But for this first one, we had to start somewhere. And we decided on the theme together. And the theme is miniatures. But other than that, Basia is going to choose for me what type of miniature it should be. And she's going to add a technique. And I don't know what it is yet, but she taped an intro for me or a small video. So I am going to watch it now. And then we can find out what the challenge is going to be together. So I haven't watched this video yet. I am going to drop it right here in the corner for you. And I am going to press play here and we can find out what the challenge is going to be.
Hi, this is me, Basia. And BREGJE, the project I want you to make today is, bravo, a little lighthouse. So, you probably explained it already, but yes, I want you to go about it any way you want. Let your imagination fly, and I am very excited to see what you come up with and what you create. So, good luck!
Okay, a miniature lighthouse, that is something I can work with. Never would have thought of it myself, but that's what makes this challenge so much fun. And that's the goal that Basia and I have set, to show you that metalsmithing can be fun. So don't think of it as hard or something that you still have to learn. Just think of it in how you can play around and have fun with it. So I'm certainly going to do so. Basia didn't mention the extra challenge in here, but now I understand the message she sent me earlier, and that was about a gemstone. So I think she wants me to place a gemstone in the design. I am going to work something out. Give it a couple of days to think about it, how to go about it, and then I will continue here with this tutorial. I am still struggling a bit. I'm not quite sure. I want it to be 3D. On the other hand, I do want it to be a wearable piece of jewelry. So I decided to just start out by making a setting and going from there. And I did decide that this citrine is going to be the stone that I'm going to use. And this is a 3.7 millimeter stone. I cut out an 8 millimeter circle and I'm going to use my doming block and these dapping punches to create a nice half-round shape. So I place my little circle in here and now I'm just going to tap away. And I'm going to move it over to a smaller shape over and over again until I have the final shape I am looking for. The 8 millimeter one was too big for my stone, so I did the same with a 6 millimeter one, but the tip of my stone will be popping out. That's not what I want, so I am going to MacGyver here a bit, and I am just going to solder this one into this one, and then I'll have a perfect bezel. And today I feel like keeping it simple, so I am just going to place some soldering paste in here, hard silver soldering paste. Pop this one in. And that's it. And all I need to do here is just sand this and clean this up, and then we'll have a perfect setting for this stone. Let's open this up a bit with a ball burr. And after burring a bit, as you can see, the stone fits in here exactly as it should. I am going to leave it alone for now. I think I am going to add 4 little prongs when it's time to set the stone. But now we do have our basic shape, so I can continue with the lighthouse. So I have this piece of paper here wrapped around my tribulate, and I'm going to see what size I want my lighthouse to be. And I think if I hold my little light bulb here, that I should start with a size like this. So I'll just tape this to my tribulate. And now I can take it off and I have my lighthouse shape. And all I need to do is flatten this out. Make sure it's straight. I'll just cut it off right there. And now if I open this up, I should have a template for my lighthouse. And if you are a regular viewer, then you know that I like to use scrap material. So this is a bit thin, it's 0.6 millimeters thick, but I had this laying around and I am going to use it. And now I am going to take my time and gently cut this out. And I am going to anneal this before shaping it. And it's a very thin piece, so I will be there quickly. And just to be sure, I'm going to turn out my studio light. And I can see it's already turning red. I'll place this in the pickle solution, and when it's nice and clean, we can shape it in the shape of the lighthouse. Seeing as it is such a thin piece of silver, I can use my hands for the first part. And after a lot of tapping, I came down to this shape. As you can see, we're almost there, and before I am going to continue, I am going to anneal again, because as you can see, this springs right back because it has really hardened due to all the tapping I did. And now my trick for closing it up, I place my tribulate in a shape like this. This one came with my dapping punch set. And I can gently close it up. This is a pretty big surface, so I am going to coat everything in borexine. That is the flux that I use, to prevent fire scale or fire stain from happening. So this will give my silver a protective layer, and of course it acts as a flux. With everything nicely covered and the piece up to temperature, I can add my little soldering chips. This is hard silver solder. And now all I have to do is make sure that everything heats up properly so that the solder can melt in the right direction. As you can see, there is a little bit of solder left on here. That's not a problem because I think that everything has flown right through and it's a nice connection. So let's place this in the pickle solution and afterwards we can get a better look. I'll take the little soldering blobs off. And now we can shape this. I think this is turning out really cute. I made sure that the bottom was nice and leveled. And now I have my metal dividers here. And I'm going to place one tip on the bottom of my lighthouse and one tip up here. Just so I can have a very straight line at the top as well. And my lighthouse is nice and even. And now all I need to do is file up to that line. And I am using quite a coarse file, as you can hear, just to speed up the process a bit. And here we have the first two and the most important pieces of our lighthouse. So from here it all is going to feel like arts and crafts for me, because I get to clean this up, add some fun embellishments and just play around. Before I am going to do anything, I am going to anneal this one again, just to make sure that when I am going to solder everything together, this doesn't open up because it holds too much tension. I want to add some texture to the base of the lighthouse, so I am going to scribe two lines here. So I know where to add my texture, and this cone is about 3 centimeters long. And I will make two 1 centimeter lines. And now I'll just add the texture with a ball burr. I'm going to draw some windows on here because I am going to open this up. And I'm just freewheeling here a bit. As you know, I always make a small indentation with a ball burr. And that is just to make sure that my drill doesn't slip away in a minute. And don't forget to lubricate your drill before drilling. You can use a regular candlestick for this or a special made lubricant. And while we're at it, let's add a little door. And I'm going to use this very small needle file to try and square this out a bit, so that it will look like an actual window. I have all these little circles here from a previous project. This is cut out of 1.5 millimeter sterling silver. And I am just going to check to see what I think is looking nice with my lighthouse. And I think this is nice for the bottom, although if I do want to use it as a pendant, it will become a bit too big. So maybe I should go for this one. I am going to think about this while I drink my cup of coffee, and I'll get back to you as soon as I know what my next move is going to be. So I don't really know how to continue from here, so what I am going to do is what I do know, and that is that I want this part of my lighthouse to be connected to this bottom plate. And just to let you know, there is a reason why I made those holes before soldering, and that is because you never want to solder a closed up shape, because heat will expand, or the hot air will expand, so you could get an explosive situation if you heat up something and the air can't escape. And let's see if we can get this soldered while everything is still hot. And this is really starting to look like a lighthouse. The bottom is in here very nice and centered. I am a bit off at the top, as you can see, but that is nothing that I can't fix with a file. So I am going to place this in the pickle solution, and then again going to contemplate on how to continue. Let's just clean up a bit. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but let's just go for it. I am going to solder a little silver wire here. I think I'm going for a 2 millimeter wire, but I'll let you know in a minute. And I am going to solder it on this side, and I am going to solder on that side. And maybe I can even solder through and make sure I get a very nice and decent soldering connection. I took a pause here and I clamped this in my miter vise jig just to save my fingers. Whew. And let's see if I can drill straight down. Yes. And now I'm going to open up this hole with a bigger drill. It's a 2 millimeter drill. So it was really stupid to do this without looking. Now I am stuck with this here and I ruined my setting. Just going to check before I throw this overboard if maybe I can save it. Okay, so that wasn't my smartest move, but it doesn't have to be a problem right away. As you can see, the wire is going in here, and here it is sticking up a bit, so I am just going to take a ball burr, deepen this part here so that the wire will fall down, and then I will solder. And here you can see that this is going to be just fine when I solder it together. And I am going to make it a bit more challenging because I want the little light bulb, because this is going to be my lighthouse light bulb, to be able to turn around. So I am going to place another part below here, in which I am going to solder this part, and I am going to make sure that it can still move around. Let's straighten this out and harden it a bit. And this circle has the same size of the bottom circle of my lighthouse. And I'm going to use these metal dividers to determine the center. And if you mark this from all sides, you will be left with a small square, and on the inside of this square is my center point. So this is it. You can use a drill bit for a small indentation or your center punch. And then simply drill a hole. And I'm going to open up this hole with a small ball burr. And now all we have to do is place the piece of wire in here and solder this together. I am going to solder this by using some hard soldering paste, silver soldering paste. And as you can see, I don't have to hold anything. Please, if you are going to solder, get yourself used to making everything fit together as snug as possible, so that you really don't have to do anything and it isn't going to move around. I am going to tip it over here to make sure that the solder flows back here as well. And that's it. And just take a look here. After a quick sand, you can't even see where it was soldered. Let's continue. I am feeling very like that guy in the A-team who always says, I love it when a plan comes together. So this is twisting and turning nicely. I am happy that everything was lined up correctly. And now I need to clean up this a bit so it can really rotate against the bottom plate. And this is just a little nerd thing to do. If you use a small setting burr, like this one, you can make a small edge here that just looks a lot nicer. And how cute is this? Let's add this piece, and I think this is the perfect position. And then we still have to think about what's going to happen over here. But first things first, let's solder this on in this position. I am going to use some medium solder here, and I am going to focus my heat on the bezel and on this piece of wire. I need to go in here again because the solder hasn't flown nicely. Keeping my soldering pick close. Yeah, come on. Yes. So this still needs a big cleanup, but everything is working and it's coming together like I planned. I am going to make the top part, and for this I am going to use the same circles in 3 different sizes. And again, let's keep it simple. I have some hard soldering paste here, and I am going to do everything at once. Just drop it on here and on to the next one. And as you can see, I am using quite a bit, and that is because with this type of paste, maybe you have something in another brand or you haven't used wet paste before, a lot of this material will dissolve when heating up. So I do need to use some extra. I was a bit too excited here, so I am going in here with a smaller flame. And as you can see, everything is starting to bubble. Okay, I should have done this in 3 different parts. But hey, where's the fun in everything going right? And here you can see that sometimes a small adjustment of your flame is all you need. And a small change of plans here. I took everything apart because I want to add a small floor here with a little fence. And while I was at it, I did change my setting because I wasn't liking how it was looking, and seeing as I was tearing everything apart, I changed it. And there are 2 things I changed here. One is I created a small opening in the back so the light can come through my stone. And the second one is I used some thicker silver here to create a thicker edge for me to add the prongs. That's all I changed, nothing more, so let's continue from here. And we're going to start off with the prongs. This isn't soldered on here yet, but as you can see, it's in there so tightly that I will just leave it like this because it is easier to hold. I am going to drill 4 very small 1 millimeter holes here because I am going to use 1 millimeter prongs. I marked the spots where I want my prongs to be. I'm staying close to the edge. And I'm creating a small indentation with my ball burr so that my drill doesn't slip away. Oh, that's a bit too close to the edge for me. So you can always adjust. And now I'm taking my drill, making sure everything is nice and upright. I'm just drilling in a bit so I can stick a prong in there and solder. I don't want to drill through and through. I will cut off 4 very tiny prongs. I think they are about 6 to 7 millimeters. I'll add some soldering paste here. So everything will get soldered in one go. And I'll place a tiny amount of solder in each hole. And then I can place the prongs in here. And I'm gently heating this up. By the way, I am using hard solder for every soldering operation that you see in here. And it's time to breathe again. I am going to place this in the pickle solution. Meanwhile, we are going to continue with the little fence. For the little fenced area, I did exactly the same, drilling 1 millimeter holes, cutting off 1 millimeter thick wire pieces in exactly the same size and wiggling it in there. And this isn't soldered yet, but as you can see, it isn't going anywhere. It's really stuck in there. And that is what's going to make soldering this a breeze. I am going to solder this from the bottom because that is the easiest place to clean up afterwards. And again with hard silver solder. Just making sure here that the solder comes to this side as well. I'll sand this part just to make sure everything is nice and straight. I made this small little ring. It's actually a big jump ring from 1 millimeter silver. I placed some hard silver solder on the top of the little prong thingies. And now I'm going to solder everything together. And while that part is in the pickle solution, we can start by cleaning up this part. And the first thing I am going to do is get rid of this piece of wire in the middle. And I'm going in here from the back because I can clearly see what I'm doing here. The stone fits in nicely. Now I can clean this up and connect all of the parts together. And now all I have to do is make sure that everything really lines up nicely, and then I can solder. And there is a reason why I soldered everything with hard solder so far. And that is so I can now go over to the medium solder, and then I don't have to be afraid that everything will fall apart while soldering. The hole for my roof part is a bit too big, so it doesn't fit in nice and snug. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten a bit of wire out, just to cheat a bit, so it will stay in place while soldering. And it's time for the final soldering operation. And that's this part here. So I am very carefully going to solder this again with medium solder, because I don't want the solder to flow through to the other side. So I am just going to use a little bit to close it up, and then we're done. I am going to do a whole lot of cleaning and polishing, but I'm not going to show you yet. I'll get back to you in a minute with setting the stone, and afterwards I am going to show you the complete end result, just to give you that extra wow. Before setting the stone, I am going to add some texture here. Just like I did on the lighthouse itself. Yes. And now all I need to do here is use a hammer and my punch and gently tap over the prong on the stone. And after that, going from the opposite side. And here it is, my little miniature lighthouse. I really hope you like this one. It was quite fun to make, something completely different from what I normally do, but I do like the results. So please let me know what you think about it. And I wanted to show you this because you can move it around by twisting the bottom silver plate. And that's just a fun bonus.